Have you ever noticed how a simple meal feels more flavorful with a drink beside it? How wine seems to unlock hidden notes in food, or how a cold beer somehow makes salty snacks irresistible? It's not just your imagination, and it's not just about relaxation. There's real science behind why alcohol changes the way food tastes, smells, and feels. From how it interacts with your taste buds to the way it rewires your brain's reward system, alcohol quietly transforms the entire eating experience. In this video, we're breaking down why alcohol makes food taste better, what's happening inside your body when you drink and eat at the same time, and why humans have paired alcohol with meals for thousands of years. You're watching in 4K, so settle in. And before we begin, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for more deep dives into food, culture, and the hidden science behind what we eat and drink. To understand alcohol's effect on food, we first need to understand how flavor actually works. Contrary to popular belief, taste is only part of the equation. Your tongue can detect sweetness, saltiness, bitterness, sourness, and umami, but that's just the foundation. What we perceive as flavor is mostly driven by smell. As you chew, aromas travel from your mouth to your nasal cavity through a passage called the retronasal pathway. This is why food tastes bland when you have a cold, and why alcohol, which is highly aromatic, can dramatically change how meals are experienced. Alcohol acts as a solvent for aroma compounds. That means it helps release volatile flavors in food that would otherwise stay trapped. When those aromas reach your nose, your brain interprets them as richer, deeper flavors. This is one reason wine pairings work so well. The drink isn't overpowering the meal, it's amplifying it. Alcohol also interacts directly with your taste receptors. Even in small amounts, it slightly numbs certain sensations while heightening others. Bitterness becomes softer. Sharp edges mellow out. Sweetness feels rounder and more pronounced. This explains why foods that might taste too salty, acidic, or intense on their own suddenly feel balanced when paired with a drink. Alcohol smooths contrasts, making flavors feel more cohesive. It also stimulates saliva production. A well-lubricated mouth spreads flavors more evenly across the tongue, allowing taste buds to engage fully. Dry foods feel less dry. Fatty foods feel less heavy. Everything becomes easier and more enjoyable to eat. One of alcohol's most powerful effects is how it interacts with fat. Fat carries flavor, but it can also coat the mouth and dull taste over time. Alcohol cuts through that richness. This is why fried foods, grilled meats, and creamy dishes pair so well with beer, wine, or spirits. The alcohol cleanses the palate, resetting your taste perception between bites. Each mouthful feels fresh instead of overwhelming. Carbonated alcoholic drinks add another layer. Bubbles physically scrub the tongue, lifting away fat molecules and intensifying sensory contrast. That's why champagne, beer, and sparkling cocktails feel so refreshing alongside heavy meals. Humans are naturally sensitive to bitterness. It's an evolutionary warning sign for toxins. But alcohol changes how we process bitter flavors. Low to moderate alcohol consumption reduces our sensitivity to bitterness while enhancing sweetness and umami. This transformation allows foods like dark chocolate, blue cheese, char vegetables, and bitter greens to taste more complex rather than harsh. Alcohol doesn't eliminate bitterness, it reframes it. What once tasted aggressive becomes layered and intriguing. Flavor doesn't exist only in the mouth, it lives in the brain. Alcohol triggers dopamine release in the brain's reward pathways, increasing pleasure and reducing inhibition. This neurological shift changes how we judge food. Meals feel more indulgent. Textures become more satisfying. Even familiar dishes seem exciting again. Alcohol also lowers stress hormones like cortisol. When you're relaxed, your senses open up. You pay more attention to taste, aroma, and mouth feel. Eating becomes an experience rather than a task. This is why food shared with drinks often feels more memorable, not just because of the flavors, but because of the emotional state alcohol creates. Alcohol doesn't just enhance flavor, it alters perception. Studies show that people who drink while eating often rate food as more enjoyable, even when the meal itself doesn't change. Interestingly, alcohol can also make portions feel more satisfying, at least initially. The heightened pleasure response tricks the brain into feeling more fulfilled, even with smaller servings. However, this same effect can backfire. As inhibition drops, people may continue eating past fullness, not because the food is better, but because the reward signals keep firing. Alcohol has been paired with meals for thousands of years across nearly every civilization. From ancient wine rituals to communal beer halls, drinking and eating evolved together. Part of this is practical. Fermented drinks were often safer than water. But there's also a social component. Alcohol slows time, encourages conversation, and turns meals into shared experiences. When food is tied to ritual, memory, and connection, it naturally tastes better. Alcohol enhances not only flavor but atmosphere. Different alcoholic drinks emphasize different sensations. Wine highlights acidity and aroma. Beer enhances bitterness and carbonation. Spirits intensify warmth and sweetness. When pairings work, it's because the drink complements the dominant elements of the food. Acid balances fat. Sweetness offsets spice. Bitterness contrasts richness. When pairings clash, it's often because both the drink and food compete for the same sensory space, overwhelming the palate instead of supporting it. There's a tipping point. Beyond modern amounts, alcohol dulls taste and smell instead of enhancing them. Excessive drinking numbs receptors, blurs aromas, and reduces sensory clarity. At that stage, food doesn't taste better, it just tastes louder. Texture becomes less noticeable. Subtlety disappears. What once felt refined turns sloppy. This is why chefs and sommeliers emphasize moderation. The goal isn't intoxication, it's enhancement. Expectation plays a powerful role. If you believe a pairing will be good, your brain prepares itself to enjoy it. Alcohol amplifies this effect by lowering skepticism. This placebo-like response doesn't mean the experience isn't real. It means your brain is actively participating in flavor creation. Taste is not passive. It's constructed moment by moment, shaped by chemistry, memory, mood, and context. So why does alcohol make food taste better? Because it unlocks aromas, softens bitterness, enhances sweetness, resets the palate, and activates the brain's reward system, all while placing you in a more relaxed, attentive state. It's a chemical interaction, a neurological response, and a cultural tradition all working together. But like most things, balance matters. A little alcohol enhances flavor. Too much erases it. If this deep dive changed the way you think about drinking and dining, make sure to subscribe for more food science, cultural insights, and long-form explorations, always in crisp 4K. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.